Hey, what's up, everybody? So, today's video, I'm just going to kind of pour my heart out. I'm going to talk about my experience, my life, my time in school band, and why I really think that if you haven't already tried it, you or your kids, if they haven't tried it, you should encourage them, or you should yourself go and try out being in the school band. And there's a million reasons and a million things I'm going to get to, but the reason for this video is Sweetwater reached out to me and said, hey, we're celebrating the fact that now we offer band and orchestra instruments at Sweetwater, which they're my favorite retailer. And so it's awesome to hear that they're getting into another way of helping musicians and helping, especially like with school band instruments. That stuff can be really difficult. You got questions. Sometimes it's hard to get the right instrument. And so I was super excited for them in that front. But they also came to me and said that one of the ways they're celebrating is they're partnering with Conselmer and giving away $20,000 worth of instruments to a school of your choice. And so if you click the link in the description, you can go nominate your school or your favorite school or where you went to school or whatever it is. You can nominate them to receive $20,000 in instruments to help their band programs or orchestra programs. And so I thought that was awesome. That was a huge reason I wanted to create this video. And my first thought when it came to like what kind of video would I create was about the importance of school band. And so let me just take a second and kind of, it's like this was a fun opportunity for me to like reminisce and think back through the many amazing years in band in my life and kind of come up with some of the reasons that I think it's so important. So let's join me on this roller coaster of musical journey through my previous life, decade plus of years in school band, and let's see what happens. All right, so going back a really long way, it's actually crazy how long ago it was now that I think about it. But when I joined school band in middle school, I wasn't someone who had no prior musical experience. I already played the drums a little bit, so I knew I wanted to play drums. I had all that figured out, and I know for some people it's kind of scary to be like, oh, I guess I'll be in the band. Like, what instrument am I going to play? And there's just so many amazing instruments. Personally, if I didn't play the drums, I almost certainly would play saxophone. I actually learned a little saxophone, and we'll get to that. But for me, like joining middle school band was like, it just made sense because I loved music, and playing music during the day in school and getting better at it and learning to read and learning more pieces of the puzzle like just made sense to me. And so I joined in 6th grade. And man, I fell in love. Like, it's different than drum set, you know, and you're not necessarily joining school band to play drum set, but if you continue in school band long enough, oftentimes there are opportunities to play drum set. And that's what's really cool to me, is that the crossover. And that's one of those things that I really like preach about school band, is the fact that you may think that school band is not playing drum set. You may think that it's not going to help you be a rock and roll musician, or, you know, whatever it is that you really want to do. But there are so many success stories of people who were in school ensembles, and that helped them become better players in their future careers. And so for me, I mean, school band is the difference between an appreciation for, you know, playing the drums really hard and like jamming out with your friends, and a greater understanding and appreciation of music and dynamics. And I can't tell you, there's like the difference of approach in approaching music after having played symphonic pieces where like your part's the triangle, or your part's like a little cymbal swell or something, and you count out 57 measures, and like in the moment it kind of seems dumb, or in the moment it kind of seems annoying. Like everyone else is playing, you don't have the snare drum part, you've got the suspended cymbal part or whatever. But like the way that those little pieces fit together will teach you so much about music. It will teach you so much about playing and make you such a more versatile and understanding musician when it comes to gigs in the future. And so for me, like, you know, I've been playing for years, and I was in school band since 6th grade. And I'm going to try and put as much like relevant footage on screen as possible, because I definitely want to share some cool memories that I have on video And I'll find what I can for this video, because I just want it to be like a musical journey of fun. If you guys follow me and are interested in my journey, I want you to be able to see where it is I came from and what it is I've been through. And so as much video as possible, I'm definitely going to share. So in middle school, I mean, you're really just like, I was just learning the ropes of playing other instruments, playing snare drum and playing bass drum. And really, one of the most challenging and interesting things about playing percussion in school is oftentimes that you learn mallet percussion, or, xylophone, marimba, vibraphone, those kinds of things. And those skills really transfer past being a drummer, because they teach you about music, and they teach you about like theory when it comes to your scales, and when it comes to notes outside of just the written percussion rhythmic nature of music. You start to learn those notes and you learn those changes. Same thing with timpani. Timpani's cool because you learn bass clef, and then so like there's a lot of benefits to playing percussion in school, and one of those benefits is just the versatility of yourself as a musician and learning to read music. And you can, like, that the biggest thing that I take away from school band is that you get out of it what you put into it. So like, I like marimba, I like vibraphone and all that, but I never studied it enough to really be great at reading music or sight reading that music. And honestly, further along in my journey, that actually held me back in some of my like auditions and stuff, was my desire to more so play drum set and more so focus on very rhythmic snare drum, bass drum. Like, I was always really good at those things. I was not as good at marimba or vibraphone. I never really learned the four mallet thing because I was never in front ensemble, and that's one of the big transitions in my life that I kind of missed out on, because in the general way you go about being in school bands and stuff, you do middle school, and once you get through middle school, then you audition to be in the high school drum line or in the high school percussion ensemble. And at that point, typically as a freshman, if you're going into an established program, unless you're just really, really good, which totally could be, you're going to end up most likely in the front ensemble, potentially on like cymbals or a bass drum or something, but that just depends on your scenario. And so if you end up in the front ensemble, you can treat it as an amazing learning experience more than a stepping stone to snare drum or tenors or quads or bass drum or whatever you want to call it, because that is a learned skill that you'll like. What you learn in a year in the front ensemble is really, really going to help you in college auditions and all those different pieces of the puzzle. But for me, I actually went straight from middle school. The band director, it was going to be a new school, so like they didn't have an established program. They didn't have any seniors. They only had freshmen through juniors is what we were going to have that first year at the school, South Paulding High School in Paulding County, Georgia. And so for me, going from South Paulding Middle School to South Paulding High School, I had the opportunity to actually be on upper battery, which is snares and tenors, my freshman year. And part of that came from my drum set playing. I do all the different toms and everything and movements around the drum set. And the director saw me doing that and suggested that I come play tenors because they needed another tenor player. And so in a way, I mean, that was really cool because I was always excited about playing tenors. It was ultimately what I wanted to play. But it was very challenging too, because I wasn't very strong, and carrying tenors my freshman year, I wanted to quit, like straight up. And this is one of my favorite parts of my musical journey, is because I started doing marching band my freshman year, and no one liked me, or they didn't really treat me very well because I was the freshman on upper battery, and they didn't really want me there because they had established connections and they came from a different school, and they believed that, they had to work their way up to upper battery and I shouldn't have been there. And so I definitely felt a lot of, just not great feelings right away joining that first year. But and just how difficult it was, marching around with those heavy drums and not being a super strong individual. I was a scrawny little kid, and so I wanted to quit, but I didn't quit. Thankfully, my parents convinced me not to, and my parents have always been good about encouraging me to finish what I start and really, try things. And I committed to be that tenor player, and so I did that year, and it was incredible. I mean, the things that I learned that year, I got a lot stronger, and I became a much better player, and it really taught me a lot about perseverance and doing things that aren't easy. And so moving forward, I ended up playing tenors all 4 years in high school, and my junior and senior year, I was the drum captain. And it was so cool because we started with a program that literally was like a baby little program, first year in existence. And by my junior and senior year, we were winning first place in competitions, and we were the grand champions, and our drum line was placing first, and the band was incredible. Like, that was it. It was hard work. It was many, many long hours. And that's one of the things about like committing to something like this is not easy. But it really, like, one of the most important things it always taught me was that being on time is being early. You're there, you're set up, you're ready to go. And it's amazing how many times I work with musicians and I work with people who weren't in band and didn't go through those kinds of having to be there and having to be set up for your team and having to be like, it's not going to work. If you're missing a part of your battery, then the drill's off. And just, there's so much you learn from a responsibility standpoint being in a marching band or in a school band. And so I, sometimes play with other musicians that they show up late and they don't seem to care that much. They don't respect your time. And then you get frustrated and you're like, well, if you're not going to show up on time, why should I show up on time? And so it's really great learning that responsibility, because so many of the opportunities I've gotten, so many of the places I've gone in music have come from my attitude, my work ethic, and my respect for other people's time, for other people's investment into what it is that I'm doing. And so 100%, even if it's just the attitude and the work ethic that you gain from being in a band and from being a part of a team that size, like, that's super important. And so I played in high school for those 4 years, and I mean, that was really, truly special. Lots of musical growth. I played in the high bands. I played in the lower bands too. One of my favorite things was my senior year in high school. I only had one core class per semester left to do, and so I had all these open classes. And so I took 5 band classes my senior year. I was in the percussion class, I was in the concert band, I was in the symphonic band, I was in the beginning band, which was like just people who wanted to try out band but like weren't good enough to be or didn't have enough experience to be in the higher ensembles. And then I was in the color guard class, which the color guard class actually had to learn a new instrument. And so in that class, I started to learn saxophone. And I mean, I never got that great at it. Back then, I could play it a lot better. There's a hilarious video on my channel, like an April Fool's video, where I said I was going to stop playing drums and play saxophone. And I mean, it's ridiculous, but it taught me a lot. It taught me about the what it takes to play a wind instrument. You don't think about it as a drummer. You think about how heavy your drums are and how much easier the winds have it because they're walking around with a lightweight instrument. But then you think the amount of breath that it takes for me to sit down and play saxophone in an air-conditioned room, and then thinking about jumping around and moving all throughout this crazy drill in the hot summer and like trying to keep your breath and play your notes and keep them even, and like, man, that teaches you a lot. You suddenly realize that maybe being a drummer isn't as hard as you think it is, and maybe playing a wind instrument is actually quite difficult, especially in the band. And so so my senior year, I was like in the band room pretty much all day long. And I had 2 really amazing instructors, directors that really, really poured their heart out towards me and taught me so much. I really believe that the band directors, and sometimes like when you're in theater, like your theater director, or if you're in chorus, your choral director, or the orchestra, like those individuals, they spend so much time with you because of after school rehearsals and because of the time in their class, and sometimes staying after and figuring out parts and things like that, and they really will pour into your life. Now, I mean, I know not everybody gets an incredible director, and sometimes not every situation is as good as what I had, but the directors in my life were just so huge, and one of them I'm still very, very in contact with from my high school. His name's Carr, and his band, he's now with the Carrollton High School Band, which is about an hour and a half away from where I currently live, maybe 45 minutes from where I went to high school, and he directs this amazing ensemble. And so for that Conselmer Sweetwater giveaway, they're actually the ones that I nominated, and so I sat down with them and to nominate them, and also just to do something fun, we got together and we played music and stuff. And so I'll put some examples of that here, but Chris 100% just exudes energy, exudes hard work, exudes a love for the students. And it's been really, really cool to see where his hard work has taken him, because when he was my band director, he was pretty young. Like, I'm pretty sure he was younger than I am now, which crazy to think about, but like it was one of his first jobs as a band director. Might have been his first, I can't even remember. I'm not super up to date on his story completely, but I do know that like he would show up every day and he would give it his all. And together we did some awesome things, and under his instruction we did some awesome things. And so I'm really thankful for his time in my life, and it's great that we're still friends and everything. But the cool thing about going from high school is that then you get the choice of what it is that you want to do after that. And for me, some of the most monumental years in my life were school band in college. Now, I'm all back and forth about college. Is taking out student loans worth it? Is it really going to change your life if you want to be a musician? And like I have a bunch of different answers for that, and that's not what this video is going to be about. I would say that if you're smart about what you go to school for, it can be beneficial. If you're not smart, then it may not be that beneficial. I personally believe that as much as a performance degree is great, you can become incredible on your instrument without a performance degree. I think it's smarter to get like a music business degree, or to get a business degree while playing in the music ensembles, or to get a recording technology degree, or some sort of video, or stack the degrees, major in multiple things like video and business, or music and business, or those kinds of things where you are multi-purposing the abilities that you have to be a musician, to create content, to open the doors for yourself. Because I didn't become successful here by being the best musician in the entire world. Now, if I was a better musician and didn't know how to do all the other things I know how to do, maybe I would have been successful, but I don't think so. I think the reason that I was successful is my work ethic, that I'm pretty good at playing drums, and because I learned how to do video, and I learned how to do business stuff, and I learned how to do audio, and like... I multi-purposed what I can do to create a pretty big YouTube channel for drumming. And I mean, it's the most followed in the world as far as subscribers and stuff. And that doesn't say anything about me. It's not like I'm a better drummer or a better person or something than anyone else. I just worked hard and I multi-purposed my skills. And so going into college, it was so cool because in high school I played in the jazz band, and I played in a bunch of different ensembles, and I got the opportunity to do drum set and stuff. But I went to Georgia State, and Georgia State is a very forward-thinking university. And so when I went there, they actually had a rock band. Instead of a front ensemble. Now they actually have both, which I think is even better because it's awesome that so many talented front ensemble players can now go and study at Georgia State and play in their marching band. But just like in high school, my first year with Georgia State was the very first year of the marching band. So I actually got to help build 2 programs, which in a way is good, and in a way it was also difficult because we were having to set traditions and we were having to try and build from nothing to something. And my directors there, I mean, just like Chris Carr, absolutely phenomenal individuals. Dr. Phillips, he keeps moving up the platform. He's like in charge of the music department there and stuff now. And then also Dr. Robert Ambrose. And if you're in the band world, you may have heard of some of these guys. Dr. Chester Phillips, Dr. Robert Ambrose. They do a lot of teaching and they go around and visit different universities. And I can't say enough about Georgia State's band programs. I mean, if you're looking for a university, I 100% recommend checking them out. But the cool thing about it was like where school band took me, because life experiences and opportunities to perform in really cool places, like you don't always get those. And so in the not short time, but the 5 years that I was at Georgia State, and I was there an extra year because I just loved playing in the band programs, and music became my focus, and I was doing my YouTube channel and I just kept playing in the band because I loved it. And in those years, we took a band program that was nothing. It was the first year as a college university, and marching band, and we went from nothing to, we played the inaugural parade, which was awesome. So we got to go up to Washington, D.C., and we got to perform in one of the most iconic parades for the inauguration of the president. And that was such a life experience, and getting to go see D.C. with my friends was really cool. And then to like get to the top here, we ended with doing the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And all of that happened a large part just because of the work ethic and because of the incredible directors there and stuff. And I actually got to help create videos that we used to get to like audition or put our band in for these different opportunities. And that's just because I had the skills to do video and stuff. And so not to say that we wouldn't got in without those videos, because the ensemble and the directors and everything's incredible, but it was cool to be a part of something like that, to help promote this new marching band and to help create content that is used by for promotion and for opportunities. And so I've always tried to multi-purpose the way I approach things, and in that time there, millions and millions and millions of views from Georgia State band program videos, because people love to watch it, especially the basketball band. The basketball band was even more so than the marching band, which I loved the marching band and I loved all the stuff we did there. But the basketball band was like my thing, because it's me and like 30 or 40 of my friends jamming music to a pretty good basketball team. I mean, we're not like, we weren't one of the best in the country every year, but like for a mid-major, we were one of the mid-majors that actually could do something cool. And my last year there, once again, we hit the peak and we went to the NCAA tournament and we upset Baylor. And so I got to play on the big stage there. And certainly, I could have gone to a different school and I could have played on bigger stages more often, but I loved Georgia State and I loved what we did there. And really, that was the formative years where I played with other musicians. I created YouTube videos. I built what it is that I do while being in college and learning and experiencing, and it really helped change me into who I am today. And so it's really like, it's really crazy the journey and where it took me just being in school band. Like, I mean, going to New York and playing up there and doing the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and doing these different opportunities. And all of them were hard work. I mean, I was the first drummer to like march a drum set in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And we built a custom platform, and Pearl and I got together and we showed off the crystal beat for the first time, and like all these crazy things. I had to wake up at like 2 a.m. to get that platform out and inflate the tires and get that thing ready to roll for this parade. It was 100% an interesting experience, and one that taught me a lot. And at the end of the day, I can't like say enough, like, join your band programs. Like, it may be more work, or it may be sometimes more boring than you think. It's not always like the most exciting thing on the planet. Like, especially if you're sitting back there and you're counting out 72 measures tacit until you hit the triangle one time. Like, that maybe not be that exciting, but it teaches you stuff. It makes you a better musician. It makes you a better person. It teaches you hard work. It teaches you teamwork. It teaches you respect for your fellow musician, especially musicians that maybe you don't know a lot about. If you're in a rock band, like, I played in rock bands, and like, I knew about guitars and I knew about bass, but because of school band, I knew all about all the winds. And like, I've played in jazz bands, and I've done gigs with orchestras. And things like that. Like, all these weird different opportunities have arisen because of my openness to them and because of my passion for that. And hey, a gig is a gig. If you get paid money to play drums, if you're playing with an orchestra, or you're playing with a rock band, or you're whatever it is, like, all those things matter. And so I'm just going to leave you with my heart. Go play in your school band. And I don't think you'll regret it. I mean, I can't imagine a reason you would regret it, unless you just don't like anything other than rock music. I don't know. Like, some of the most beautiful pieces that we played, some of the most beautiful music that we made. I mean, it was fantastic, and I'm so thankful for that time. I'm so thankful for getting the opportunity to play in so many cool places, and being a part of such an amazing university like Georgia State, and having the incredible band directors that I had over the time. It was truly special. And honestly, like, some of the most fun performances of my life were basketball band and were marching band. And I've done some really cool stuff outside of that too, but there's just something about that, something about just sitting behind a drum set at a basketball game. The crowd's into it, the team's winning, you're going to the NCAA tournament, and you're not supposed to win, and you upset another team that's much better than you and bigger than you, and the videos from that are some of my favorite memories that I think I'll ever have in the music world. And man, it's good stuff. So I'm going to leave you with some more video content, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you check out your school band and you join if you haven't already. And I hope that you nominate your favorite band by clicking the link in the description. Go fill out the info, nominate the band that you want to win the $20,000 gear giveaway from Sweetwater and Conselmer. And imagine if you get the brownie points you get if you win your school some big time instruments. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that you're gonna get first chair this year, but maybe. All right, well, thanks for watching, y'all. Sign up, have a good one, make music.